Hi everyone, welcome to the 11 Plus information event. Before we jump into the topics, let's look at what we are going to cover as part of today's session. We are going to start with a brief introduction to the 11 Plus. We'll talk about the QE exam pattern and scoring. We'll discuss the timelines for admission. Then we'll come to the important question on how to choose the right school for your child, how to prepare. Then finally, we are going to look at some mock exams and what our mock exams offer. And finally, we'll have time for some Q&A towards the end. So as we go through the presentation, in case any questions come to mind, please note them down. And either you can put them in the chat as we go along, or towards the end, you can just put them in the chat and we'll try to take on as many as we can. Few important points. A copy of this presentation and a recording will actually come to you on Monday. So on Monday, you will get an email which will have a link to the recording. So you don't need to actually note down anything. Anything you need will be provided to you on Monday. Finally, a small disclaimer. All the information presented as part of this presentation is through our research. We always encourage parents to, double check everything and look on the school's website. And finally, we are not associated with QE or any other grammar schools. Yeah. So let's start with a brief introduction to the 11 Plus. 11 Plus is a selective examination which is taken by many grammar schools to select students for admission. It is an exam which is the grammar school admission obviously takes place for entry into year 7. And that means the 11 Plus exam is taken at the start of year 6. So students who have currently started year 6, they are taking the exam in September, and this exam will get them admission next year into year 7. Yeah, so that's the way it works. Coming to the QE exam pattern, the QE exam pattern is that the exam is just one round and it has two papers. The first one is English, which is around 50 minutes. And the second paper is maths, which is again around 50 minutes. So 45 to 50 minutes is, what they aim for. The key points regarding the exam are, A, it's MCQ only, so multiple choice questions. There is no long answer type where you have to actually write the answer. And there is no VR, NVR, or creative writing. So the QE exam only has English and maths as its testing elements. Yeah. Each section can contain between 50 and 65 questions. So the QE exam is known for its toughness, and it is also known for its time constraint. So sometimes you can get up to 65 questions in a section to be done in between 45 and 50 minutes. Yeah. So there is a significant amount of time pressure in these exams. The English section can have up to 2 passages, and one of the passages can contain a poem or part of a play. So these are some things which are unique about the QE exam. Now, in terms of exam topics, this is a very brief summary of the key exam topics. It's not done to a granular level, but this should contain most of the question types which you can come across. Now, let's talk about exam scoring. To understand exam scoring, we need to understand 3 terms. The first is raw score. The raw score is basically how many questions you got right. So let's say the math section has 50 questions and you get 40 of them right. So your raw score is 40 or 80%. Yeah. So very easy to understand. But raw score, it doesn't do one thing. So it does not tell you about relative performance. So let's say out of 50 maths question, your child got 40. Now, is that good or bad? Depends on how others did as well, right? So raw score doesn't tell you that. So that is why schools use a parameter called standardized score. Standardized score is basically a measure of your relative performance. Now, a typical standardized score ranges between 60 to 141. 141 in QE is a perfect score. So if you get 100% right, you get a score of 141. Yeah. 100 is usually the mean score. So if you score 100, that means you have scored bang on the average, which students scored in that mock exam. Oh, sorry, in that exam, real exam. Final term we need to understand is the age standardized score. So what happens is within a year group, there can be up till a year's difference between the oldest and the youngest child. So what the school and the council do is they give the younger students certain extra points to compensate for brain development. So children who are older, they've had one more year in their life for brain development. So just to compensate younger children for that, younger children are awarded a few extra points. Now, it's worth keeping in mind, it is just a few points. So when the standardized score ranges from 60 to 141, it can be something like 2 to 3 points. It's not the end of the world, and a lot of parents get really hung up over it. If you have got an older child who's capable, they definitely have a chance of getting admission. So don't worry about these few points, especially in case you have an older child and you're not going to get them anyways. Yeah. Now let's talk about admissions. So these are a few important things to keep in mind. So first we have the PAN, that is the published admission number. So this is the number of students the school is planning to take. Generally, this is around 180. The actual school intake can vary a little bit. So over the last couple of years, the school has taken around 192 students. So the reason it is slightly different from PAN is there are certain appeals which get successful. And so, school needs to take on those students as well. And, there might be certain additional education needs students which need to come into the school. So the number can vary a little bit from 180. Now let's talk about understanding your scores. Now there are two cutoffs, let's call them cutoffs. So first is 210. So in case your child gets a standardized score, a total of below 210, then they are not considered eligible for admission, and the school will let you know that they don't really have a chance of being admitted to the school. Obviously, there is still an appeals process, but the chances of a student getting successful in the appeals process is very less if you don't even have a score of 210. Yeah. Second is the cutoff. So if you have a score over 210, that doesn't mean that you will get admission. It just means that you have reached a level which the school deems capable of being admitted into the school. After that, it's a competitive process. So QE is a super selective school. What that means is it only selects students based on their aptitude in the admissions test. So what happens is the standardized scores achieved are ranked as per merit, and the school offers the seats to the first 180 students, and some students might be kept in the waiting list. So this table is very important. This is published on the school website. So let's look at this table. So here we have the various years. This is 2023. So there were 3,000 students, 3,100 students who took the admission test. 1,111 were deemed to meet the admission criteria. So they received a score of 210 or over. Out of this, 990 students actually applied. So they put the school in the CAF form. And the lowest score or the cutoff score for that particular year was 232. So generally, based on last couple of years data, if you have a score of 234 plus, that is considered safe, and you are most likely to get admission. If you have got a score which is under 229, then the chances of admission are very slim. Ideally, you need to get a score of 232, 234 to almost be eligible for admission in QE. Hopefully, this makes sense. So this table, this last column is the important one. It gives us the cutoff score of various years. Now it's generally said 1 in 15 students who apply gets admission. So that's a very daunting number to go by, but this does not really reflect the level of the competition because like if you look at 2023, 3,100 students gave the test and 200 need to be admitted, around 200. So that gives you the figure of 1 in 15 students. But your real competition is this 1,100 students which actually clear the cutoff. And within this 1,100, there will be students, who would prefer Wilson's, who might prefer Sutton, who might be out of London, who don't really want to commute. So, and there are other good schools as well. So it's not that all 1,100 are seriously, going after QE as their first choice. So your real competition might be, maybe 500 students or 600 students. So it's not bad as 1 in 15. So, that being the point here. So if you are really after QE, I think you should try for it. And, there is a real chance if the child works hard for 1.5 to 2 years to, gain admission. So let's talk about key admission dates. So this is for the 2025 intake. So students will be going into the school next year. So around the 1st of May is when the admission portal opens. So you need to register for the exam. There's an open day. There was a school open day in July. So this is an opportunity for you to go into the school, meet the students, faculty, and know a lot more about the school. The deadline was 12th of July for the filling up of the application form. Then school was obviously closed for the summer holidays. The admission test for entry into next year is scheduled for the 18th and 19th of this month. So students who are looking to gain admission next year, they'll be giving the exam next week. Then 1 week after the test, there is the reserve day when any students who were sick in that particular week can give the exam on this particular day. The school is planning to release the results on the 1st of October, and 31st of October is the deadline for the CAF forms, where you have to let the council know your preference for school admission. And 3rd of March is the National Offer Day, when students will know if they have been offered admission into the school. Obviously, some students might be in the waiting list, and in the next subsequent round, some students are expected to be offered admission as well. So guys, hopefully this gives you a brief introduction on what the timeline is going to be. So this year, obviously the timeline is expected to be similar. So around the 1st of May, admissions will open and it will follow a similar pattern. Now let's talk about how to choose the right school for your child. Now, a lot of us obviously like to go by admission ranking. So let's talk about that, the academic ranking. But there are a number of other parameters as well. Let's get them all up here. So admission ranking is obviously very important. That is how the school ranks academically vis-a-vis the other schools. Now, there are a number of different rankings available. We do have a recommendation of a particular ranking. We'll take you through that in the next slide. Second important thing you should consider is the commute, how far the school is going to be from the place where you want to stay. In the past, we have come across families who have taken admission into a school which was very far away from their home. And the child was, for instance, spending about an hour and a half in the morning and an hour and a half in the evening. So that obviously creates a lot of, less time is available to the child to do homework and extracurriculars, etc. So do weigh commute as well. For a lot of parents, being in a single sex or a multi-sex school is important. So in case that is important to you, then obviously QE is obviously a single sex school. So, that might be something to consider as well. School demographic. Many parents want the school student body to reflect, the demographic of the UK. Now, in some schools, that is not the case. In QE also, possibly it is skewed a little bit. So it does not represent the general demographic of UK. So in case that is a factor which is important to you, do consider that. You will know about this, about the school infrastructure, about the school specialty, if you visit the school on an open day. So that's a very good opportunity to interact with teachers, to interact with current students. So in case you are, looking at QE as a possible option, then, I would encourage you to go for the open day and find out a little bit more about the school. Yeah. So again, school infrastructure, school specialty, you will know a lot more in detail when you go to the open day. Now, QE has a very amazing video brochure available on the website. It is available on this link. So you will get this on Monday. You will get a copy of the presentation. So you can go to this link. This is on the QE school website. It does talk about the school a lot, and it's a very nice video for you to watch. Yeah. Let's talk about the academic ranking. So the academic ranking we recommend is called this Good School Guide. So it ranks the schools very effectively on something called Progress 8 scores. So what that means is when the student enter into the school, they measure the student attainment on 8 important GCSE subjects. And when the students actually take the GCSEs, they see how much they have scored. So it is basically a measure of how the school has helped the students uplift their scores. So when they come in to the school, they were at this level and they actually ended up attaining this much in the GCSEs. So this is the value addition by the school. So this is how they measure attainment rate. Now, if you look at the rankings, QE is obviously one of the best ranked schools for boys. Uh, so, you have Wilson's and you have QE. So it is actually one of the top two schools in terms of this particular ranking for boys. You might get other rankings where QE might be rated better than Wilson's as well. So it depends on what ranking you look at. It is definitely one of the top schools in the UK for boys. Now, how to prepare for the exam? So we are going to divide this into certain sections. So first we are going to talk about theory coverage. So both English and math sections, contain some theory which needs to be covered. For example, in maths, it could be probability, algebra, area parameter and other topics. So bond handbooks and CGP study books are very good source to cover the basic theory elements. So what these books will do is they will take you through the basic theory and get you some practice questions as well on those topics. So these are very good as a starting point for theory, especially if your child is in year 4, then I think these are a particularly good point to start. If you are looking at a slightly more guided or a video-based solution, we have something called subject-wise camps. So in these camps, you will cover the theory in terms of video lessons, and we ensure students get tons of practice of real exam style questions as well. So let's have a look at a sample English camp. So what this would do is this would cover all your key theory topics. It would give you regular assignments and assessments during the week of the camp. Students would get over 400 practice questions. All the key theory topics will be covered by video lessons. We give you access to partner resources for additional practice. And all of our camps are run as a week-long contest. So all students who participate, they are ranked as per their performance. And at the end of the week, students get prizes and certificates. Yeah. So it's a very good way to motivate students to, really do the work. And this concept has been very successful in the last 2 to 3 years. So this is our schedule for the next year. So for example, these are the camps which are going to be relevant for you. So if you wanted to go with Oxbridge, what you could do is you could do the maths camp in the October term break. You could do the vocabulary booster in the December break, and you could do the English camp in the April break. And finally, you could have a go at the accuracy camp either in the May break or the August break. So these are the 4 camps which are going to be relevant to you. So I would highly encourage you to do these. These are specifically aimed at students who are doing hard exams like QE. So these camps would take you through the full theory and give you a lot of practice of the exam style questions as well. Next, we come to regular practice of exam style questions. Now, Bond and CGP have their 10-minute test books and assessment papers, which are very good for regular practice of questions. At Oxbridge Institute, we have these 10-minute, 15-minute, and 20-minute books, which increase in difficulty. So 10-minute are the beginner level. So maybe at the start of year 4, you could have a look at these books. 15-minute are the intermediate level, and 20-minute are the advanced books. So the 15 and the 20 minutes are specially targeted at schools like QE, which are tougher and which need you to be in a lot more practice in terms of time management. This year, we are also starting something new, which is called a selective and super selective weekly test group. I'll talk about this later in the presentation. Coming to mock exam and practice tests. So the QE exam is made by GL. Now GL have these practice books which are available online. So you can find it on the GL website or on Amazon. Now these books are very good for practice. So they are not at the QE level of difficulty, but they do have some interesting questions and some interesting theory aspects. Yeah. So these books are highly recommended. You only need the English and maths. You don't need the VR or the NVR for QE at least. Yeah. Then we come to the competitive mock exams. All of the students should be ideally looking at competitive mock exams before the main exam. At Oxbridge, we have a series of online mocks, at-home mocks, and physical mocks, which I'll take you through in a minute. First, let's talk about our online mocks. So this is our online mock schedule for 2024. We had online exclusive mocks in March, April, and June. So in our mock exams, you get a personalized score report. You get access to raw and standardized score data and rank information. We also give you pass, not pass analysis. So based on this performance, would your child have been likely to clear the exam? One thing, obviously you get detailed solutions. And one thing which is very unique to us is we give you one free test reset. What this means is after you have taken the test, you had looked at the solutions, maybe after a month, you can give the test again. So this actually helps us evaluate if the child is actually retaining what they are learning. Yeah. So this is the schedule for 2024. The next year's schedule is going to be announced in early October. So, but it's going to be similar. So we'll have a online mock in March, then one in April, and then one in June. Coming to physical mock exams, our physical mock exams are held in Kingsbury in London. So this is an example of our mock exam this year in Milton Keynes. This is a photo from our exam in Kingsbury. So these are center-based exams. You obviously get raw standardized score and rank information, detailed solution. We also let you retake the physical mock exam in an online environment. So once you give the exam physically, we will give you the score report. And like with the online, you can have it reset after a month just to see if the child has retained what they made the mistake in the first place. One thing very unique to us is we allow you to keep the exam paper. So a lot of providers don't allow you to keep the exam paper. This is primarily so that they can use the paper again next year. Now we make all of our physical papers brand new every year. So we allow you to take the physical paper home because we believe this is very important in terms of understanding mistakes and reevaluating how the child has done. So when you are selecting a physical mock provider, keep this in mind. Will they allow you to keep the physical paper or not? Again, one thing very unique to us is, like I said, all of our exam paper, the physical papers are made brand new each year. So what happens is once the students give the exam this year, after a month, we will be taking feedback from them. And they will also give us feedback on how our mocks were, how close they were to reality. In case students find them too difficult or too easy, next year we will just readjust to make sure they are at the level you would expect in the real exam. So we pride on our exam being very close to the actual mock difficulty level. And that is because we make our exams fresh each year, taking feedback from the previous years. Yeah. So that is something which is very unique to us. Again, the physical mock exam schedule for next year will be announced early October. Finally, we have these at-home mocks. So these are instances where we send the physical exam to your home. You do it as per the listed condition. You give us a scan of the answer sheet, and we give you a full score report as your child had done the mock exam on the day. So this is again a very unique solution which we offer, and a lot of parents have benefited from that in the past. Now, coming to something which is very uniquely launched this year by us, we have a selective and a super selective weekly test group. So we had a trial month in April, so where students could get a sample of the exam, how the camp works, the group works. In case you missed the trial, but you still want to just have a look, you can DM me after the call and I can add you to the group. So you can actually give the exams which are offered free. And it will also give you a chance to, look at the kind of reporting we do. So in this group, what is going to happen is every week we share a mock exam. So it could be an English paper, it could be a maths paper from one of our past exams, or it could be a test from one of our online books. So each week you get certain quizzes and tests to complete. We'll give you a full score report on how your child did. You will have rank information. And as part of this group, we'll keep giving you a lot of feedback we'll have a running leaderboard on how your child is doing, just to encourage the children. As part of this group, we give you free resources each week. So it could be a vocabulary resource, or it could be a English comprehension, etc. And you get amazing discounts as part of this group. So we will be offering between 25 to 50% discount on all our courses as part of this group membership. Yeah. So the cost of this membership is £10 a week. In that, you get a free quiz each week. You get free resources and you get amazing discount on all our courses. Plus, you get a lot of free courses as well. Yeah. Finally, we have a 11 plus complete package, which will really help you manage costs in case you decide to go with us. This package is available till the December. The cost of this package is a one-off fee of £600, which can actually be paid in 2 installments as well. Included in this package is 3 physical mocks for next year, 3 at-home mocks, 3 online mocks. So this actually sorts you out in terms of mock exams. You get access to the online camp, the English and Maths camp, which are relevant to you. You get the booster courses, that is the vocabulary booster, accuracy booster. You get access to all our online books, and you get access to the selective and super selective weekly test group as well. So basically, it's got a total value of over £1,000, and you can get it for £600 in case you decide to book before December. Like I said, you can pay in 2 installments of £300 as well. So last year we had a number of students, avail of this discount, and they saved a lot of money. So in case you are concerned about money, this is a package to consider. How to contact us? We have a WhatsApp group, which is very active. This is the link to the WhatsApp group. When you get the email on Monday, you can join using that group. We will close this group in a couple of weeks. The reason is last time we had a few spammers get in, and they spammed the WhatsApp group. So to avoid that, we'll only be keeping this group open when we are sending out the emails for this WhatsApp session. But you can always DM me in case you decide to join later, and I can add you to that group manually. This is my email address in case you have any queries. And this is my phone number. In case you want to join the group, you can DM me, or in case you have any queries, you can get back to me on this number. Again, this will be included in the email that comes to you on Monday. So guys, with that, we come to the end of the session. If you have any queries, please put it in the chat and we'll take them one by one. Yeah. So one parent is asking, is the QE exam harder than GL? So yes, GL is the board which sets the QE paper, but GL have different difficulty levels of their exams. So I believe QE is at the hardest end. So the QE paper is specially made, and it is much harder than normal GL exams, which example GL Bucks, GL SLAW would be giving. It's going to be a much harder paper. And again, GL have all 4 sections: English, Maths, VR, NVR, and obviously QE only has English and Maths. Yeah. Any more questions? Please put it in the chat, guys. Somebody is asking what is the best time to start, and they have a child in year 3. So for most grammar school exams, like in Buckinghamshire, in SLAW, we recommend an year is enough to prepare the students. But the London schools, including QE, are very competitive. And we recommend that you can start at year 4 in terms of preparation. So that does not mean that if you have a younger child, you should not do anything. There are a number of Bond and CGP books which are age appropriate. So for example, in year 3, you can get those books. You can actually get those books in year 2 as well. We would recommend, starting with those books, because those are at a very easy level and they are meant for year 2 and 3. So just make sure that students are up to date with what they are supposed to be doing in those years. And you can obviously focus on reading. Reading is an important part of 11 plus, and students who are into a reading habit find comprehension much easier. They find vocabulary much easier, and that is a very important component for exams like QE. So don't go into focused prep for QE or grammar schools in year 3. I would say wait till you are in year 4 and then start this preparation. but at home there are a number of books and a number of reading material which you can get your child involved with. Yeah. Somebody saying, what percentage score would a child aim for to get into QE? Like I mentioned, standardized score is a better measure of how your child is doing because it compares your child's performance to the other children. In a difficult exam, 60% might be a good score, but in an easy exam, even 80% might not be a good score. So while it's not possible to give you a good percentage score for all exams, with our exams, we find generally 70% is a good mark. In case your child is achieving more than 70% in English and more than 70% in maths, that's a good score to aim for. But like I said, go for standardized score rather than percentage scores. Yeah. Can you tell us an example of one hard English and one hard maths question? So unfortunately, I don't have a question prepared to share with you, but let me think if I can, tell you something. So for example, in English, students find punctuation rules very difficult. So, especially commas, because, there are so many rules regarding commas. So you could get a difficult question when you are given a sentence and you have to identify which part of the sentence contains a punctuation mistake. So in case there's a comma-based mistake, students generally find that very hard. So, something like that could come, especially one of the more difficult punctuation rules. So something like that could come. In terms of a maths question, students have a very small introduction to probability. So for example, something in probability like if I toss a coin, what is the chance of getting a heads? Now that's a very simple level question. You would not get that in QE, but you could get a more difficult question. For example, if I toss two coins, what is the possibility of getting heads in both of them? Now, there is a very formula-based approach which could help you solve this question, but that would be way beyond the level of 11 plus. But what you could be expected to do is you could end up making sets. Like what are the possible scenarios? You could get head-head, you could get head-tail, you could get tail-head, or you could get tail-tail. So if what you are looking at is both heads, then possibility is 1 out of 4 combinations. So the chance is 25%. So you could get that level of a question in QE. That's very small example. Once you start doing mock exams for QE, you will come across more such examples. Yeah. Any more questions I can help with, guys, today? Somebody is asking, QE does not have a catchment criteria. Which other schools are there which do not have a catchment? So schools which do not select based on catchment are called super selective schools. There are a number of these schools. In the London area, I know obviously there's QE. There is Wilson, which is part of the Sutton Consortium. It does not do a lot of selection based on catchment. And there is St. Olive's as well, which does not do based on catchment. There might be other schools. I'm not aware of all of them, but these three are known as super selective schools. Other schools, for example, Sutton Grammar School, they do selection based on a catchment, but they do have certain open seats as well. So in those open seats, they only go by rank. So if you are looking at schools which do look at students out of catchment, there are a number of schools in London which are either super selective or they are selective, but they have certain ability only places as well. Yeah. So you need to do a little more research. Anything else I can help with? So guys, thanks for attending. Like I said, on Monday, you will get an email which will have this video presentation, which will have the normal presentation, and it will also have a number of useful links for you to consider. My contact details are on this screen. Please feel free to WhatsApp me. The selective and super selective group is going to start on Monday. In case you want to be part of that group, please let me know. You can cancel anytime. So let's say you join for 2 weeks, you don't find the value, you can cancel anytime. So I would highly encourage you to look at that, and that should really help students get into the testing regime at a very early stage. One more thing I would like to mention, in that group, we are going to start at a very easy level. So, it's going to start very easy. And in a couple of months, we'll start doing past QE papers as well. So even if your child is not that ready, I think it's something to try. And if you try to move with the group, you will find that by March and April time, your child is really ready for the mock exam. So it should really help you put yourself in the best light. Yeah. Thanks a lot, guys. Thanks for attending. Best of luck.